Right, so it's Thursday now. It's after work, sun's going down and that. That's running now. I'll put a video in here of its first start. Well, strictly speaking, it was its second start. It's first time I tried it, I hadn't connected the battery strap to the starter motor, so it just went clunk. Yeah, it fired straight up. Yesterday, after it got to about 40 degrees, it just started hunting between like 1500 and 2500. I understand that that's quite a common thing with these engines when the it's called an idle air assist valve, just like the bypass valve for the throttle. So I took that straight off and I cleaned it all out. Yeah, it was pretty gummed up, pretty oxidized. So I done that, sealed up the throttle body, and I stuck it back on today, and it's running fine. Yeah, so comes down nicely to about 8,900 RPM. I didn't get all the way to 90 degrees. I was worried about the fan, and it's a good job actually. I cut it before it got to about 85 degrees because I wanted to check. So it turns out that when I've been faffing my wiring, I didn't put the fan earth on properly, so it was in the point, but it just wasn't tightened. And I was about to start ripping the wiring about, and I was like, you know what, I'll check the earth on the fan, and it was fucked. So yeah, I just done that quick tighten and it's come straight on. So I've set the fan switch to come back on at like whatever it is, 90 degrees something now. So yeah, it's a good result. The drive shafts are in my shed. I've just painted them. So I'm hoping I might get a drive it this weekend. That'll be quite fun. We'll see what other issues we uncover then. I've got to make an air intake up now, which I'll get it and I'll show you. So what's kind of thing I was thinking, I just got a Ram Air foam filter. I've had like quite a good experience with those previously. Like I wanted either a Ram Air or a K&N, but I don't think this is kind of like a temporary solution, so I don't want to splash out on a K&N and buy it and it just be like the wrong size or whatever. So I've just got like a 70mm with a bell mouth, which I think is probably quite a good idea, Ram Air filter, and then I've got a couple of aluminium bends, but I'm gonna have a bit of fun with it, avoiding the radiator hose. And you'll see when I show you, I've changed back to the like original Civic radiator hose, because that one that I got for the EK half radiator swap, yeah, it just wasn't doing it for me. I might yet go back to it, but so essentially this has got to come out the throttle body. I'm gonna have to cut it here and try and dive it straight down, and then that will kind of sit the radiators here. So I think for the time being that'll be absolutely fine. And I've got to find a solution for getting the plug-in for the intake air temp sensor, which I'm not particularly looking forward to, because it's not got I haven't got it here, it's not got an O-ring on it. It's weird. I think it's because in the Honda it goes into like a rubber hose that kind of deforms around it to seal. So I'll put on a time lapse. I'm going to cut this on the chop saw and we'll see how we go. Right, so that's what I'll come up with. I just think for the time being, I think that'll do the trick absolutely fine. I don't know if I want to go much further with it, to be honest. Yeah, see how we get on with this. I think at least it's an air filter, innit? Yeah, guess we'll just see. So I just thought I'd mention this as well. Like, ultimately, quite like this sitting like that. Let's just pretend that that's roughly where it is, but to do that I need quite a tight 90 degree bend here to achieve that, I think. So essentially I'd have that coming out there, and then yeah, I mean, looks nice, doesn't it? I know the Honda guys all have them here, like under the long gear. That's great, but kind of got that space earmarked for some brake ducts through there at a later point. Now, in my opinion, having cold brakes rather than an extra 2 horsepower is probably a little bit more important. don't know, maybe because I've got Honda engine now, I might change my mind on that. So I just fitted my TAC converter. So I'm now driving the Mark II dash off the Honda ECU through that, which is pretty cool. Just made a bit of a modification to this inlet pipe. So it'll sit like that on the throttle body. And then the filter lugger there, I've welded that AN6 bung into it for the what do you call it, crankcase vent that was talked about last time. It's really weird, like, I find it significantly easier to weld aluminium on a TIG than I do welding steel. I don't know why. I think it's come out quite nicely. That I'm waiting for the K-tuned intake air temperature mount. I'm gonna fit this on now, and I'll show you it. And there it is fitted. So I think it just sits in a slightly better position after welding that extra 45° on it. Still not mad on this hose. Still want to find a different solution for that, I think. Yeah, that's coming well. And then this is the thing, this is the kit that I got from Torx. So I've got a -8 on there, that's a -8 thread inside, which I'll weld into the valve cover here. And then I've got a -6 adapter. And my thinking was with that is, if I start going turbo, I can just swap that out for a -8. I want to use -6 because I've got a load of it left, that's all. So I just built my axle shafts up. It's now like 2-3 weeks since I got them. I had to send them back because he cut the circlip grooves wrong in them. I wasn't best pleased about that, but he sorted them out. There were still a few issues with them though. As it goes, I've managed to just tweak the spring clip groove a little bit to fit better in the groove because he hadn't cut it right. Yeah, I'm not best pleased about that, but I just want the fucking thing done now. I'm sick of fanning around with drive shafts, so I'm gonna take the wheels off, take bottom ball joints out and slap them in. This has just turned up. This is the sensor mount from Tegra Imports. It's really, really nice actually. It's the K-tuned one. So it's a couple of pieces, but that's the intake sensor. And you can kind of see how that's got nothing to seal on. So what they've done is they've machined an O-ring face in that. And then you put that on there and it all sort of compresses itself in. Really nice fitment actually. I think it was 40 quid. It was quite reasonable given how much sort of machining's gone on it. And I think that's just a 3/8 MPT or a half MPT. So if I go boosted later on, I can just take that out and just get a new one of these because that'll be just generic. So I'm gonna mount that on the air intake now, and that'll be all nice and set. So yeah, we'll see how we get on with that. So I welded this like boss on, so I've got something to mount onto the bracket on the gearbox, just to take the weight of this whole like a cold air intake. I think that's come out quite nicely. Really getting on with my aluminium welding now, or at least I thought I was when I did this, yeah. And then when I was welding that intake air temp sensor bung, I mean, look at the state of that. I mean, literally no different setup from that to that. And I don't know, just didn't want to weld, kept putting more amps into it, and then all of a sudden blasted all the way through. Look at that. So I don't know whether that's made out of some monkey metal or something, or what, but these are not the easiest thing to get hold of, to be honest. That's like a 3/8 MPT bung, and it's not easy to get aluminium ones, so kind of a bit annoyed that I've ruined that. Or it maybe is just crap metal, I'm not sure. We'll see. I'm going to get a new one, it's on the way, and we'll see how we get on. So I just wanted to show you this bracket that I made off sort of a Honda one here, and I just welded this extra piece on, and I'm going to use it to mount the air intake off, which I'll show you that as well. So I just got this bracket on here the gearbox, and then like a separate little bracket that's mounted onto here, and then it holds the filter right where I wanted it. So you can kind of see it there. I don't think I can get much better than that, really. And nice and rigid that as well, you know. Yeah, quite happy with that. So I had the car driving yesterday or the day before. I've got the drive shafts built, fine, no bother, put them in about 30 minutes. So I got it going, and the way this normally goes, I've done this kind of thing loads of times now with my own cars and race cars and all sorts. You get it running, and then you find all the other issues with it. So to be fair, I've not got anything that can't be solved. So number one, there's the low oil pressure light keeps coming on, but it comes on intermittently. So I don't really suspect that it is genuinely low oil pressure, but I'm taking it seriously. I've ordered an oil pressure tester, you know, like a mechanical gauge you just screw into the fitting. So I will know for sure what the oil pressure is, because it's just a switch. It's just like low oil pressure. I don't know what the threshold value is, but it won't be very high, probably about 1 bar. So I've got that coming, and we'll check that out tomorrow, hopefully. I think it's just wiring, so we'll find out for good. Next thing, the clutch. It's just way too stiff. It's like a 911 race clutch. I've never felt anything like it. Probably put in 30-40 kilos into the clutch. It's fucked. Anyway, I've done a bit of research on it, and I kind of thought that the master cylinders would be about the right size, and they are. I think the Volkswagen one that I've used is pretty much the same diameter cylinder as the Honda one, so I'm not worried about that. What I think it is when I made the pedal box, I just used the original, I guess it's the lever point for the clutch. It was a cable, so it's pulling, now it's pushing. And I think the ratio's more like, it's like 3-to-1. So the lever of your brake pedal is like 250 mil, and the lever to the master cylinder is about probably about 70-80 mil. So it's way too big. So there's way too much force on the master cylinder that the master cylinder is providing. So the way I reduce it is by reducing that lever arm on the master cylinder side. So, and it looks like I've got plenty of room to do it, actually. So what I need to do is currently, as I say, it's about 50 mil, 70 mil, something like that. I'm going to halve it, so I've got 6-to-1 ratio on the pedal, and that should halve the amount of force that's required to actuate the clutch. I'm hoping that'll do the trick, because it's not sustainable. You can't have no finesse on it. It's literally on or off. It's a switch. It's awful. It should make it a much less frantic experience to drive, but yeah, so I'm gonna get on with that this weekend. It take about half an hour to rip the pedal box out, and I'll faff around with it, re-welding the bracket. So I'll have to change the master cylinder angle. It's currently like that, and because the pivot point's here, I'm gonna have to change the bracket and move it down. It's nothing major. I'm not too worried. I can reuse most of the bracket. So one thing I did realise is I already thought this would be an issue, because the Civic gearbox, it's a 4.7 final drive, and the ratios are quite short, quite numerically small. Is that right? Numerically small, I think. So you get a lot of axle torque. So I've worked it out that 80 mile an hour in that car with that gearbox, that final drive, it'd be something like 5,500 RPM. It's just stupid with them wheels on it, because the gearbox is designed for 17-inch wheels with a much larger wheel radius. So I've been looking around, and I think ultimately I'll get a different final drive ratio. So I think it's got about a 4.8, 5.7 in there at the moment. I'm going to change that to a 4.3, and that will get me to something a bit more sensible, because as it goes, you know, even with an 8,000 RPM rev limit, it's probably just going to be like 10 mile an hour in first gear. It's shit. So yeah, it's not right. One thing I noticed, because it got no finesse on the clutch, you go anywhere near the throttle in third gear and it'll spin the wheels. It's quite frantic driving experience. So anyway, I think changing the clutch will really help, and then we'll make a bit more of an assessment about the about what I do with that gear ratio. So obviously that's not an easy job. Well, I mean it is, but it isn't. It's not like a quick 2-minute do it on a Saturday job. You've got to get all the bearings and the shims and all that shit to get the backlash right. And when I'm in it, I might as well put a diff in it, because I know it's going to need one. Needed one when it was an ABF, so that'll be my next big project, I guess, on the car. I'll sort of like try and acquire all the bits, like the final drive, the diff. I'd like to put a bigger 6 gear in it as well, so I get a nice cruise on the motorway, which I think can be done, but the gear set's looking quite pricey for that specific ratio that I want. Like, it tends to be about 200-300 quid from Japan, like new. And as far as I can tell, they don't exist on K20s in Europe. Possibly like European, American spec Accords and TSXs, whatever they're called. Maybe I can get one off that, because I need like I think it's a 0.69 6th gear on it. Because that final drive's quite numerically large, a small axle speed, I need to get a numerically small 6th gear to account for it. Yeah, I'll just be a longer job, and I'll do all the bearings and the synchros and stuff while I'm at it. Yeah, so I'm going to rip the pedal box out now, and I'll probably put the pedal box work that I'll do it in this video as well, because I didn't show you the last lot. Yeah, I'll check back in a little bit. I've got the pedal box out now, so hopefully you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So I measured it, so from the centre of here to the pivot point here, that's, I don't know, right, 240 mil, and then from here to here is 60 mil. So that's a lever ratio of 4:1. Not as bad as I thought, but yeah, what I'm going to do is I'll probably put a hole around here. I'll try and get this down to, so I've got a 6:1 ratio. Obviously I'm going to have a clash with this here, which I did last time, stiffen it up. So I have to rethink that. I'm going to have to put a, I don't know, circle, bend in it, or maybe I can strengthen it up along here and then slice the section out underneath it so it doesn't clash with the bolt. We'll have a look. I don't think it's anything beyond the wit of man. So yeah, we'll get there. So just got it running now. I'm doing the oil pressure test, and it's good. It's at about 82 degrees, 83 degrees cool. It won't get much hotter sat here. And we're just under 20 psi at idle and just under 80 psi at 3000 rpm. So as far as I'm concerned, that is a good result on the oil pressure test. So I suspect the switch is a bit dodgy, and possibly the wiring. So I think I can assume that the oil system is fine now. So that's definitely a good result. Just doing the brake, the clutch master mount again. So what I've done, you can kind of see, I've slit it, and then it was more like that, and I've bent it up, and then I've got the clutch pedal here. So previously it was mounted, the clutch master mounted in there, and now it mounts in there. So yeah, I've got about I think this to here is now 35 mil, whereas it was 60 mil. So yeah, we'd have done a good reduction there, so it should really help. So I'm just going to weld that in, and then I'm going to have to put a bit of strengthening around here, because obviously I've had to cut that out for clearance to the plunger now, but nothing major. I'm going to do that now. And there we go, pretty much done it. I'm not going to go crazy with it, because I don't know if it's still going to do the trick, because it's just leaking fluid. But I've put that triangle in it, and then I put a stopper in it here this time. Just don't want to over stress the slave cylinder. It occurred to me that could actually happen, so we'll give that a whirl. Hopefully that'll be better this time. Right, so I'm at petrol station now. It's like the maiden voyage in this car. It's just like 200-300 yards up the road. Fuck me, this thing's quick. Yeah, I'll show you. It's not warm yet, so I ain't gonna go crazy. I don't think I'll get into VTEC, but already I can feel how quick this car is, and that like short ratio final drive is really noticeable. So I'll show you the front view of the car. The oil light is flickering. I think it's just a dodgy connection, a dodgy switch, because yesterday I oil tested it and it was at cold idle 80 psi, hot idle 20 psi, and it's making over 80 psi when it's hot at 3000 rpm, so I'm not worried about him just ignoring it. I know it's good. I'll sort it out. I think it's probably a dodgy switch, so I'll show you the front view. There's quite a lot of rattles and stuff in the cabin because the engine's vibrating a lot more than the old one did, with it being on solid mounts and a different engine, which I'll work on over the next few, I guess, weeks. Nothing major, but I've got the clutch going now as well, and it feels really nice. Just got the weight of it feels just good. So yeah, we'll set off and I'll show you how it goes. Yeah, so sorry, that's a bit. I've just looked at the footage and it's fucking horrific. But I'll put it in anyway, and I'll work a different solution out for another drive. So I just got it hot and kind of trashed it a little bit. Fucking hell, it's quick. I really see the point of these engines now. And the honk on it on the VTEC crossover is not that loud with this exhaust. I don't know whether those Honda and those Jap spec exhausts do something different to I don't know, with the valve in it or the way the silencers work. But it's not that loud. It's only a 2 1/4 on this car, and it's got two resonator and a box in it. Obviously that's gonna have to change, but this is rapid. I mean, the people going about these engines quick in a Honda, in a Civic or an Integra, and they're 1200 kg. This thing weighs less than a ton easily with me in it, and it's, yeah, and it just keeps going. I mean, this is what I want. The whole reason I put this engine in this car was I wanted it to just keep going past 8000 rpm, and yeah, it's great fun, absolutely hilarious. I've just been laughing my tits off down there. I think the only way I can get, without buying a load of like new mounts, which is going to take God knows how long, the only way I can get some videos of it is I have to get my mate Joe to take a video while I'm driving it, and it's really fast. But that final drive ratio can't stay. It's like a gear higher everywhere. Like first gear is totally redundant. Don't even need it. It's like driving a Land Rover or something where you don't even use first. So I think, yeah, like fourth gear. I've been pulling up to roundabouts, like, you know, without stopping. You get into fourth gear and think, oh shit, I need to put it into third, and it's like slowing down. Fourth gear is fine for it with these wheels. So yeah, I'm looking into that. That'll be the next big job. I'll sort out the rattles and stuff in the cabin. But yeah, I'm going to go out there and say it, that this is the first running driving K-Swap Mark II Golf in Europe. Now, I'm really happy. I really want anyone to tell me that I'm wrong. Show me someone else's, because I want to chat to those people. But if anyone else has got one, let me know. Like, as I say, I'm saying it to call me out. Someone call me out, please call me out. I really want to find other people that have done this, because it's great, it's hilarious. So yeah, first one. And for those of you that don't know, and people have been saying, oh, you're cracking on with this, you know, there's a good reason why I've been cracking on with it. So I think I started this job in mid-June, something like that. It's mid-October now, and what's that, 5 months. I got a baby coming in February, well, January, so yeah, that's why. And I wanted to get it done before she comes. Yeah, there we go. Running, driving Mark II Golf with a K-Swap in it. Tell me it's the only one in Europe. Tell me it's not the only one in Europe. Probably end the video there. Hope you enjoyed it. Like it, comment on it, share it with your mates, and share it with people who've done this to their Golf, because as I said, I really want to speak to them. Nice one. Cheers.